The power of the internet brings us back together yet once again, people. How are you? It's EC Radio time. You can follow along on all Disruption Network social media platforms, and it's wrapped up into a nice little podcast that you can listen to at your leisure, at your discretion, at disruptionnetwork.net. Much love to my sponsors, EJA Moving Services, the professional movers. When it's time to move and relocate, hit up Eddie and the crew, ejamoving.com, or hit them up at 315-335-0516. They're reputable young men. They wear back braces. They wear masks. They say ma'am. They say sir, and they'll bring you pretty much wherever you need to go. Also, the home of the free boxes. Some of these moving services do not give you free boxes. EJA gives you the moving boxes for absolutely nothing. Zero. How cool is that? Give him a call today, 315-335-0516. Also, much love to my attorney, Dave Longaretta, who's been keeping me out of trouble since like the 90s. Give him a call today if you need legal advice at 315-735-6162. Shout out to Utica Coffee. As I'm drinking Utica Coffee, my brand new mug that my guest today brought me. Look at it, 92.7 The Drive. I love it. Thank you so much to Utica Coffee. Thank you to Saranac. One more thing, too, I got to make mention before we get into anything. We've got new merchandise. We've got hats, we've got beanies, we've got women's shirts, and we've got men's shirts. So hit us up. I have a bunch sitting here in the studio, so if you're interested in some merchandise, hit me up. Slide in my DMs. I can help you out with some merch, or you can hop over to our website, and you can go over to our merch store from there as well. So my brother from another mother, my older brother. Joe, it's good to see you, man. Genesee Joe, how are you, man?
Good, dude. How are you? How's everything?
Pretty good. You know, I was thinking back before we started this, you and I worked together back at that place for a while, and we used to cross-promote and just kind of sit in on each other's shows there.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about the time that we did this internet thing over at Masucci's house. I think it was the first time we ever got together.
Yeah.
And we were like 3 sheets to the wind, and kind of embarrassing a little bit on both parts, right?
Yeah, but not the worst.
Not the worst,
It was the
no.
middle of the packer as far as embarrassing goes. It was the middle of the packer, but... Well, we did the one in a small bedroom studio, and then we did the one in the garage
I forgot
bar.
about that. Yes.
Now, the garage bar was very embarrassing. Okay, there you go.
And I had the garage bar, and I think we had to redeem ourselves, so that's why we went into Todd's bedroom.
Yes,
Todd Williams, Todd's studio, yep. And then,
the garage bar, I got so drunk, it was like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and I got up and left. And then I came back.
You're like, here, you just talk to Rich so I can go take a piss.
Yeah. Oh, that was embarrassing. Man, that was terrible. But you live, you learn.
You live and learn. Thank you so much for the mask. You got me a mask, too. I'm pretty excited to actually have a real mask instead of wearing these disposable masks. So thank you so much. I'm going to rock this every day.
You know, it's all about the merch, bro.
It really is,
And thank you for the T-shirt.
Of course, man. Of course. Merch is like the way to go. I mean, you're out, it's advertising, you're sponsoring, it's another revenue stream, especially in these times that we're at right now. I mean, you got to find multiple revenue streams just to keep afloat.
Yep. You know what's funny, too, is with merch, and I always want to say this. Now, I'm going to try to not digress too much, but there's always some guy that would be like, I'm not advertising for you. And it's like, no, it shows you're cool enough to like my product.
Yeah.
So shut the fuck up.
Shut up. Exactly.
Shut up. Shows you're cool enough to like the drive. That's what it's saying.
That's why you love coming here, because you can drop F-bombs.
I do. I love it.
Let's count up the tally today. I think every time you drop an F-bomb, somebody should drink.
That's a half.
That's a half.
That's a half. Because I faded it out.
You faded it out.
Oh, man.
I love
Thanks for having me back. It's been a while, and it's really good to hang out with you.
Always.
And
Definitely.
I love this new COVID setup.
Yes,
First of all, it's nicer than my living room.
It's nicer than my living room, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool in here. It really looks good, dude.
During the pandemic, when it first started, we were doing it. I was doing it out of my bedroom and just simulcasting with people in their bedroom.
Yep.
And then I think once summer hit, I was like, I got to get out of my bedroom. And so Todd actually, and shout out to Todd Williams, he redesigned this whole thing. And then Angela Johnson from BB Design put up the mural. And we had to I had to get out of the freaking bedroom, man. It was driving me nuts, as it was probably driving everybody else nuts too.
Yeah, you know, and that was the thing, man. Once the weather broke, people got really stir crazy. And over the summer, the numbers all went down. People got back out and did things. And around here, they were pretty safe.
Yeah.
You know, I always say that even our like redneck guys that are sure that this is like, You know, they'll swear up and down it's a hoax and all that.
Right.
Would then go in the store and put their mask on and go, but just in case.
Yeah.
Like, we're cautious around here. Even the guys who want to say, screw that, we're still cautious. You know what I mean? And, But once people got out, I mean, once the summer came, you had to get out. So I can understand that.
No, did you think we're going on another lockdown?
I don't know, man.
It seems like
It seems
happening.
like we might be headed that way.
Yeah.
But, you know, too, I hope that people realize that, like, you don't have to go to the grocery store and buy 4 months worth of stuff.
It's already happening, though.
Yeah. The grocery store is going to be open.
Yeah.
This is going to, you know, you send one person from the house. You can go every week or 2 weeks like you normally do.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to stock up like crazy. I still got, okay, there goes one, fucking ramen noodles at the station and at my house. You know how terrible ramen noodles are?
Oh, man, I lived off them in the 90s.
I know, and I ate them like crazy this spring, too. But, so, anyway.
Well, that's a good safe bet for you, though, because it's cheap. You could buy a package, a case of them for like $3.
Yeah.
And you get like 500 of them if you needed it, you know?
Ramen noodles, a little bit of frozen vegetables. Kind of liquidy, but not too liquidy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a feast, man. That's good stuff.
It's late night breakfast, too, when you're out in the clubs back in the day.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right? How many ramen noodles did you eat coming home from the Devereaux?
How many eaten packages that you just bit out of the noodles did you find?
A couple.
Dried noodles half eaten there, sitting on the counter. Whoops.
And then you wake up the next day like, did I really do that? Yeah. So many times, man. How's things going at the drive? Let me tell you, first of all, and not to cut you off, but you're doing a fucking fantastic job programming that station, man.
Thank you.
The other day I was driving and I was listening and I heard Bonamassa on there. I've heard Tedeschi Trucks on there. I want to Marcus King you played recently. And I mean, there's just a lot of great stuff that you're playing and you're digging deep, man. And you're doing a phenomenal job, man. So hats off to you, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That is literally my daily goal in life. You know, all the bands that you mentioned, even like, you know, Greta Van Fleet, oh, they sound too much like Zeppelin. Well, they don't sound too much like Zeppelin, but they sound a little Zeppelin-y, but they're young.
But they're new.
Yeah. So what fits with classic rock? There's stuff now that really fits. Anybody from the Allman Brothers family tree, be it Tedeschi Trucks. I mean, you know, Derek was their guitar player for 14 years after Dickie. So it's not like nobody from the Allman Brothers fan base knows who Derek is. They all know who he is, and they all know that he is Dwayne reincarnate.
Oh, yeah.
The Allman Betts Band. This second album shows they're no fluke.
It's fantastic.
This is a real deal group.
Yeah.
Joe Bonamassa, there's three. For fuck's sake. The 8th was the anniversary of his first show at the Metro in 1989. Over 30 years.
Wow.
I know all that shit.
Wow.
I can't do a simple tax form, but I'll tell you that. No, you know what I mean? So it's like, even, you know, bands like Mo, all summer long. That Happy Hour Hero was such a great summer song. We played that one. I played, you know, Timmy Tucker a few times. Okay, All Right's a good one.
Yeah.
These fit with classic rock.
They do.
Fish songs. There's a couple of them. Sample in a Jar, Heavy Things, Free. And Trey has a lot of history with this area.
Oh, yeah.
These songs all fit with classic rock. You know, some people say, like, how does Green Day fit in there? It fits in with the Ramones and the Clash. It's like if they had a little baby and it was Green Day. You know what I mean? Plus, that's all 25 years old now.
Is Green Day something you would play more at night than you would in the morning, or does that not matter?
Time of Your Life is okay. And the other one we play is Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Oh, I like that song.
Yeah. It's got that same Foo Fighters-y feel. You know, Foo Fighters. Or as Christopher Walken would say, Foo Fighters. I love that video of them doing impersonations of Walken. But, you know, they all fit in with classic rock. So that's one of my big gauges. And also, what are people digging? Go to I saw you there, Tedeschi Trucks Band at the State Fair. There were 26,000 extra people in the court watching that band.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw some had Drive shirts on. Some I knew for years. So people like them. So those are all things that you got to look at. Why is this going to make it to the radio? You know, you can't compare it to the best Allman Brothers song ever. It's a different beast, but it fits.
It's the family tree of the Allman
Yeah.
Brothers. There's so many different roots coming off that tree with Government Mule, Tedeschi Trucks, even the Derek Trucks band back in the day, Allman Betts, another one.
Yeah.
I mean, they're keeping the Allman Brothers thing alive, but doing it in their own, their own songs.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny, too, because like Allman Betts, about 10 years ago, there was a rumor swirling that Sean Lennon and Paul McCartney's son, James, I think is the kid's name, Zach Starkey and Donnie Harrison were going to do a band.
Wow.
That would have been an insurmountable task. You'd never live up to your father's reputation. That band, the Beatles, changed the world.
Mm-hmm.
But the Allman Betts band, those sons coming up, Dwayne and Devin and Barry Jr., it was like a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
It just was so organic. They just flowed in. All of a sudden, boom, they're a great band.
Right.
And they've all been playing for years. So it's not like they were 16-year-olds that they put together as a novelty act. The Royal Southern Brotherhood. Barry was in Bloodline. He's been playing around Florida for 100 years.
Mm-hmm. And Devin Allman's surprisingly older than he looks. He's in his late 40s. And I feel like he just started.
I know.
You
Oh, by the way, I'm glad you said that. Hear that, Diane? He's almost as old as me. My girlfriend loves Devin Allman.
Does she?
I swear to God, she's got like a schoolgirl crush on her. I gave her the signed Allman Betts poster, and one day I said, "Whatever happened to her?" She goes, "It's up in the other room." I said, "Well, there's only 4 rooms in this apartment. I've been in all of them." She goes, "It's in the bedroom." I'm like, "What?" But yeah, no, you're right. So it's not like they're a novelty act of 17-year-old kids.
Right.
They're seasoned musicians who now decided to do this, and it shows.
Yeah. And when you go to a show, you'll hear Allman Brothers songs, but it's not, they're not an Allman Brothers tribute or a cover band.
They're loving versions of songs their fathers wrote and taught them how to play themselves.
Yep.
And then you'll hear their songs, you'll hear a Dead song, you'll hear a Tom Petty song. In the Utica show in the Stanley, they did Purple Rain, brought the house down. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
They are really, for real, Westcott Theater. The same thing. I can't remember exactly what the one standout, oddball cover was, but it was like, wow.
Yeah, they recently did an oddball cover at the drive-in in Auburn.
Yeah.
Back when they played, was it October when they played?
I almost hit you up for tickets for that, but I didn't have the stones to do it. It was too expensive.
You should have. But what an amazing show that was.
Yeah.
And that I actually got to sit and watch. At the Stanley, I didn't get to sit and watch because I was working. But there I got to sit and watch, and they had my mouth to the ground the whole show. It's a great band, and when this whole thing finally comes back, people need to go support that band.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. John Ginty, Johnny Sticella, or it might be Sticella, I really don't know how to pronounce his last name, slide player, the keyboard player, the drummer, and the percussionist, they're not slouches either.
Oh, no.
They're all guys who have been around and played with real deal touring bands. Mm-hmm. So there's not one weak element to that whole Allman Betts band thing.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that they didn't add Oakley. So obviously, I think Devin owns the name or something.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they didn't say Allman Betts and Oakley.
Allman Betts and Oakley. There's no flow there.
That sounds like a law firm.
Yes, it does.
So you got this news station happening too, right? Under the blanket of the drive, Spanish station.
Strangely enough, you brought that up.
Yeah.
It's actually why we booked this whole thing.
No, not really. I booked it because I like you.
I love you. I love you, man.
I love you too.
I really do. I missed you because I hadn't been on. But yeah, so we had our sister station, and it was what we call true oldies. Mm-hmm. But in this day and age, that could be something from 1958 or 59, especially the early 60s. But then from 1965, where you get into the Stones, Brown Sugar, and Honky Tonk Woman in 67. So from the late 60s to the mid 80s, it was a lot of the same shit the Drive played.
Yep.
So we were thinking, I personally don't give ratings in this area any cop. It's still, you fill out a paper diary that they send you. And, there's Town Square Media. They buy the book all the way across the country, and they buy it here. And Kenny Rozier's place does too. And those are the only two. Nobody else buys it. So we're market 177. I don't think they give you it's like fake news. I hate to use that term, but it's like, look, don't pay attention. They're not paying attention to it. It's a small market. Mm-hmm. And the only corporation that buys it is one that buys their numbers all the way across the whole country. So I don't give them a lot of cop, but the Fox, they had nothing. They had 1s, they had 1.2s, while other stations have 6s and 8s and 12s. You know what I mean? You know, stations like the Frog have 59s or whatever.
Wow.
I don't think it's that high,
Right.
but still, you know. So we thought we got to do something. We got to do something. We got to do something. We kicked around talk radio. Said, well, it's kind of a conservative area. What if we went the opposite way and did Democratic, you know, like lefty talk? And like, no, we can do that. No, we don't want to burn it. First of all, Brock would come and throw us out of the building. You know what I mean?
The landlord's like, you're gone.
Put the exact thing he hates on in his building. So he ain't doing that because he loves the dead and he loves that kind of stuff. So I'm doing the things he likes, right? So then we thought sports. And then we thought, well, we could do Red Sox games and stuff like that. And then I kind of was like, you got to fill all day with sports show after sports show after sports show, and it's all repeated.
Yeah, it is.
This guy comes and takes his take, and then Rome comes out or whatever, you know?
Plus, there's not a lot of sports going on right now.
Yeah, and thank God we didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Thank God. So then Mindy Barstein, the owner, went somewhere and ran into a guy named Tony Colon, who she's known for years. And Tony has a myriad of jobs he does in the area. He's an interpreter for the courts. He works with kids. He's, one of the pillars of the Latino community. And he said, have you ever thought of a Latino format? Because in big cities,
right,
those are always in the top 3.
Yep.
New York City, it's a #1 format.
And it's on every other dial, too.
Yeah. And we have a huge Latino population here, right?
Right.
So we kicked it around, and I got in touch with Dave Forcina. I said, what's it doing out in Syracuse? He goes, we don't have that in Syracuse. Turns out there was no Latino format between Albany and Rochester.
That surprises me.
I know. So we said, that's what we're going to do. Then COVID hit, and it actually got put on hold for months, right? We still kicked it around. But we found a guy doing his own station out in Methuen, Massachusetts. And Mindy grew up in Lawrence, I think is the next town over. She lived there a little while, so she called there and she said, what do you guys do? Where do you get your programming from? Because honestly, I couldn't program it.
Right.
And this guy's name is Darvin, and he's really cool. And he said, I want to syndicate this, but I didn't. It's just an idea I always had. She said, well, let us be the first one. So now we got our programming. Now we got the idea, and it's, so that's what we did. And it took a long time to get going. But with help from Tony Falvo, the engineer who put the whole computer system together for us, we got it up and running, and we put it on the air November 1st. And quite honestly, everybody who's heard it so far has liked it.
And it's called El Zorro.
El Zorro.
El Zorro, and you can find it on 98.3 FM and then 1420 on the AM dial here in Utica. Now, how big is that transmitter? Is it just the same transmitter that you use on the drive?
No, it's a little smaller than the drive. It's on the Fox, but we are streaming. We're streaming through Facebook. We're on TuneIn Radio. Mm-hmm. Now, the funny thing about the name El Zorro is...
El Zorro.
Yeah, we're kicking it around. Tony's there. We're saying, well, what are we going to call it? And she goes, well, it's the Fox now. And he looked up. He goes, the Fox? And we're like, yeah. He goes, call it El Zorro. That means the Fox in Spanish, and everybody already knows that phrase.
Wow.
So that was it just, boom, it popped right up. So everybody that would dig it, that we've told about, has loved it, whether they're Latino or not, because it's really fun music.
Yeah.
I don't know what the singers are saying in all the songs.
Right.
But you know what I mean? It's just so much fun to listen to, and it's cool. And yeah, some people didn't like the fact that we changed the oldies.
Of course, you're going to get that.
Yeah, but for the most part, it hasn't been too much.
Yeah.
But here's my one thing. And I hope I'm not going off the rails over-explaining this, but...
No, not at all.
40 to 60% of the music could be found on the Fox or the Drive, the Eagle, OUR, or Tony FM. We play anything. So in a hard financial time for a locally owned independent station, you're going for a fifth of the pie against... the Drive, the Eagle, and OUR.
Right.
3 biggies. And I look at it like this. Say there were 5 pizzerias in a block, and you own 2 of them. They're all a little different, but they all basically had the same shit.
It's all pizza.
It's all pizza. It's wings, sandwiches, paninis, fresh, crispy salads.
And
you know what I mean?
Nuts.
Yeah, and garlic nuts. So wouldn't you, if you own 2 of them, wouldn't you find the restaurant a different kind of restaurant for whoever is unserved? And in this case, we found one where we're the only format doing that. So instead of fighting for a 5th of that format, we're the only one that offer this one. Why would you not? Because we did have some guys that called up and were like really pissing and moaning about it. Just a couple, but it was like, dude, you know, it's COVID radio.
COVID radio, huh?
That's what this time is. You know,
Right.
It's like for every bar, mechanic, restaurant that you know that's having trouble, that's what the drive is. We're just a radio station of that, a version of that. So, you know, and that's our main income is restaurants, bars, and locally owned places. So when they took a hit, we took a hit. So we had to do something.
Yeah.
You know, and the other nice thing is this format is a lower demographic. It's 18 to 49-year-olds. Now, both of our formats before were 45 plus.
So it's more of a pop Spanish?
Yeah, it's pop Spanish.
It's a lot of percussion and horns and like Ricky Ricardo type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say it's like
Babalu.
No, not like that. Daddy Yankee, Shakira.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
It's Spanish and English. You know, it is bilingual. So, you know, it's fun to listen to. To me, it's kind of like when you would watch Burn Notice. You remember that TV show?
Yeah.
Set in Miami. When they came back from commercial, they'd have that music playing.
Yep.
It's that stuff.
Gotcha.
There's a little salsa. There's a little merengue. There's a little Tejano. It's a good mix. This guy Darvin really knows his shit. So it's fun to listen to, and it's for all audiences.
Yeah.
If you like to dance, if you like to, you know, ladies out there, if you like to shake your ass to stuff, this is it. But don't do it on Friday night at the club. You can do it driving down the road in your car now.
Yeah.
You know? And so, and it's a completely underserved section of the community. So there you go, you know?
It's amazing. I can't believe it took this long to get a Spanish station around here.
I know. So look at, you know, like the numbers of, like Spanish is the second language of America.
Right.
And we never had one in this area. How that happened, I don't know.
I don't know.
You know, we've had a Polish show. We've had the Italian show back in the day. Remember being a kid and having that stuff on?
Oh, yeah.
So now we started it up.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, like I said, some people complain, but once you explain it to them, they get it. Although, you want to hear a funny one?
Of course.
Okay.
You know I'm good for a
Hey,
funny
why
one.
would we have humor on this show?
Right.
This is the God's honest truth that it was the only one of these we got. Some lady called up. I listened to the Fox, and I'm very angry. You put this Mexican music on, and no one around here can understand any of these songs. And I couldn't get a word in edgewise. Nobody can understand these songs. And it's, you know, it's bad enough that those people, and now you know we're really headed downhill.
Here we go.
So
Yeah.
now I'm getting hot. You know what I mean? Those people are coming up here. Nobody can understand songs. Those people are coming up here. They're taking all the jobs. They're everywhere. They're all over the place. And now you gave them the radio station. And when she stopped talking, I said, can't be both. Either nobody up here understands it or they're everywhere, so someone does understand it. She called me a fucker and hung up.
Right. Back to the trailer park you go, honey.
Yeah. But, you know, that was the only one of those. And other than that, you know, but it's only been on the air for 2 weeks. So, you know, we're rolling with it. It's picking up steam. The Facebook page is picking up listeners. So we're on our way.
El Zorro.
El Zorro.
I like it.
It's cool. Seriously, anybody out there, you know, if you want to hear something different, it's fun to listen to. And seriously, like, if you're like girls that go out and dance, check this fucking thing out, man. This is the best house cleaning music and working around the house thing you'll ever get.
Now, are the jocks Spanish? Are they talking in Spanish too? Or
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's bilingual.
Bilingual.
You know, he'll say a line in English, he'll say a line in Spanish. And right now, though, what we are working on is getting all our commercials bilingual. Because, you know, we're still in that fledgling stage. So while the drops and the liners are bilingual, we are working on getting the news and the weather and all that stuff. But it'll come, you know.
Telemundo.
Yeah, I know, man.
No, it's cool though, man, and it's very cool that you guys are thinking in a different direction than the same old, same old. Somebody made a post the other day, and I'm guilty of this as well, of complaining about local radio. I've done it in the past. I recently seen a post, and I
talked to that girl, and she there was one just yesterday from a girl.
Yeah.
I said, look, this was what happened,
right?
And she was real cool about it.
What people need to understand is like a lot of these other corporate radio, they may say they're local, but they're corporate thinking.
Yeah.
Like what they do is just take a playlist of 500 songs and throw them in a mix, and it's just kind of randomly played. That's why you keep hearing Pink Floyd and all this stuff over and over again. But what you do different at the Drive is you switch it up, and you do deep cuts and more album-oriented rock and newer stuff that's coming in that relates to the classic rock.
That's what we had. Sometimes I say it like this: you got to regress to progress in radio right now, because if it's 500 songs in somebody's corporate playlist, I'm sorry, then you're being generous.
Right.
It's probably 375.
Wow, you think so?
Yeah, 375 to 4 1/4. I'm telling you right now.
Wow.
And at the Drive, I have thousands at my disposal. The big difference is this: we're always going to play hit songs, but the big difference is those kind of stations have a list a mile of longs of songs you better not play them. Mr. DJ, you will lose your job if I hear you playing, The Weight by the band or Chest Fever, or Shout It Out Loud by Kiss. We don't have a long list of songs we'll never play. We got a lot of songs that are available. If I get a bug up my ass, or it's something like a historic date, like some band played The Odd, or,
4 Acres.
4 Acres, yeah. And I go out of the history file, and we're just not, if a guy calls up and says, I want to hear Quicksilver Messenger Service, yeah, sure, we can play that for you. It's not out of, left field. It's not out of, and bands like King Crimson, different Pink Floyd songs. A band with a 50-year career has more than 5 songs.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, though, the general rules of radio that even the corporations totally abide by, they're good rules. It's a good basis. But a guy right now, say it's 48 or 55 or 56, right? When he had kids and stuff, all that stuff couldn't be that important to him. But now that they're empty nesters, or, the kids are just old enough where it's not cool.
Midlife crisis.
Yeah. They're starting to look at those albums again and hearing these songs, and they're loving it. They're absolutely loving it. And I do hear that all the time. So that's, a 55-year-old or 50-year-old in this day and age was born in the late 60s.
Yeah.
They're all album generation kids. They've all been to 100 concerts.
Yeah.
The gray-haired old man walking down the street has been to see the Dead or, the Rolling Stones 14 times. Those guys still want to rock. And that's the deal. It's not like back when in the 80s, a 50-year-old was born in the 40s or the 30s. No, he didn't want to hear any of that shit. Right. So times change, people change. We can do this now, but these other stations won't do it. They don't get it. And, fuck them. I hate to say it that way.
Seriously. Throughout this pandemic, how have you guys changed your model around a little bit? Because I feel like you had to.
Yeah,
like radio stations had to change a little bit because, one, everybody's stuck in their house. They're not driving around. A lot of people listen to the radio more when they're driving than more likely to listen to when they're driving than when they're at home. What did you guys do to change your model around?
You know what? Our main thing we changed into was this whole dare to be different ideal. And, like, before the weather broke, March and April, when it was still really cold and shitty out, I wanted to keep the entertainment value high. They're going to be on their phone. They're going to be online. They're going to be watching KTV news for numbers and COVID info. If they're, cleaning their attic out or something, or just have the radio on, I want to entertain people. I wanted to keep spirits up.
Yeah.
So I was doing shit like request hours where everything goes.
Really?
Oh, my God, yeah.
Open format.
Open format. Because it was all songs that were just rock songs. Just, you might hear, Free 4 by Pink Floyd or, Arnold Lane. Somebody might want to hear old stuff. Or they might want to hear, Bad Company by Bad Company. Screw it. We'll play it for you, They might want to hear Roadhouse Blues, but they might want to hear Land Ho by The Doors. we just played it all. And some days it would take me 2 hours to get them all in.
Oh, I bet.
And then other days it would take an hour. But as soon as the weather broke and people could go clean up their yard, then they got away from their phones and we stopped doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But we did it for probably 3 weeks, every Monday through Friday. And people loved it. And that was just the whole thing. Keep the entertainment value as high as possible.
Yep.
You know, on the weekends, myself, Diane, Jerry, Bob, Todd, just keep the entertainment value high. No, don't talk about numbers, don't talk about diseases, just fun, because they're getting that other stuff everywhere else.
You're right.
You know?
Everybody needs an escape from it.
Yeah. And really, if you're listening to a rock star, like if you're listening to me, you can give a shit what I think about that.
Right.
Or the presidential election.
Just play the song, Joe.
Yeah, they don't know me as that, so I wouldn't be so silly as to do that. But and other than that, it was just hey, let's just try and get through this. It was hard. It was very hard for an independent station. It was really hard for a small business.
Is there any guy out there, or a couple guys, I'm sure, that try to trick you, or not trick you, but pull out a song that you never heard of or something like that? It's kind of like that episode of Cheers when they were the Screaming Viking episode. You remember that?
Yeah.
He can make all the drinks. Is there a song out there that somebody tried to fool you with?
There were a couple of guys that sent me stuff that was that's just so obscure. Even I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? We were doing a thing with those request hours or those request 2 hours. But I still know enough where to go. No, everybody will fucking leave if I play that. You know what I mean? So
you know better.
Yeah, I know better. I know the music and I know the market. You know what I mean? I stop and talk to anybody who wants to.
Yeah.
You know how I am. So I knew I knew where it was. But yeah, some people try to get stuff through that had dirty words in it and stuff like that. And I'm nah. Mainly that my buddy Maynard would be play the Doors version of this where Jim talks about his wang. No, Maynard, I'm not doing that, Maynard.
Are there any new bathroom songs?
No.
There's not. Huh?
Because just like right now, and I said this in the 2 o'clock hour before I left, I pre-recorded.
Yeah.
So if I got to go to the bathroom, I just throw the brakes in and leave.
True.
Not in the bathroom. If I got to go do an interview on the Disruption Network, there's nobody in that room right now. No other radio guy will tell you that. But I said, well, I gotta go do that at 3 o'clock. Somebody,
Right.
So yeah. So no, there isn't. But back in the day, there was always
Freebird.
Freebird. Do you feel like we do?
Right. Outlaws and Greengrass and High Tide.
Yeah.
That was another one.
Pigs, 3 different ones.
Yeah. Even that Oasis song was Champagne Supernova would just drag on forever at the end there. There was a long extended version of that. That kind of worked sometimes.
Back in the day, our buddy Luke Kaler would call from the Devereaux when we were still working somebody was in radio stations 24 hours a day. And Lou would be like, is it beer time? I'd be like, yeah. And I would put something like, do you feel like we do on? Or, I'm your captain. Some 9-minute plus song. And I would run down, and he would come over from the Devereaux, and we would meet in the bank parking lot, and he'd give me a couple of UCs. And I'd run back upstairs with him.
And still have 3 minutes left on the song.
Still have time to drink one, man.
Man, those were the days, right?
Yeah.
Radio's changed so much. It was more of a party atmosphere back in the day. Especially when I first got into it. It was more loose, kind of. I mean, it was less corporate.
Yeah.
And it was more loose back then, and there was, parties going. I know the first day I trained at that other place, not the place that we worked at, but the other one.
Yeah.
And the very first day I ever trained there, we had 10 of my friends in there partying, hanging out, drinking, and that's when I got my nickname Z was that night. It was crazy, but anyways,
really,
yeah, it's a lot different now than it was back then. Back then we were doing bar nights and going out to these things and have wet T-shirt contests and whatnot.
Boy, even talking to when you had Jerry on, before we even started, back in the day, OUR would have bar nights 5 nights a week.
Yeah. Right.
They'd have them Thursday through Saturday, and, maybe they were in, 2 places at once sometimes.
And then a Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'd be insane. But, yeah, you remember those. We used to have those all the time.
Oh, indeed.
I guess they kind of just ran their – first of all, the beer company stopped throwing the money at radio like they used to. Because you remember Bud would be everywhere. Coors Light would be, and they'd be fighting each other.
Bud Light, yeah.
You know, the distributors in town would have it out for each other, so they would just throw money at, events and stuff like that. And it's just not the same anymore.
No.
You know?
Do you think the DWI laws becoming so stricter is what put a little grip on that, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? When it comes down to it, what wrecks everything? People.
True.
There wouldn't be DWI laws if more than 7,000 people getting DWIs. You know what I mean?
It all comes down to people.
It all comes down to people. People fuck everything up. I have decided that, and I'm putting my foot down right here. Festivus came early. We're going to air the grievances.
All right, do it, man. Do it.
People fuck everything up.
It's true.
People have fucked it all up. If you think something's wrong and you're mad at something, people fucking cause that. And it sounds like a joke, but it's true.
No, but it's so simple, and you're right.
The other day, this is how bad people have fucked up being on the radio and how terrible they make it to be an entertainer in this day and age. I was trying to talk about Oak Island, the Oak Island TV show. Now, I love that. I hope those guys find treasure up there. I hope all that shit is real because it brings, like, whimsy and fucking that crazy adventure to the world is real, you know? And I thought, well, I'll say this, and I got to talk about how they drained the swamp, because there's a swamp up there that they took like thousands of gallons of water out. And then I thought, no, don't say drain the swamp.
Right.
Because if I talk about Oak Island for 8 sentences, and I say the 3 words, drain the swamp, some, pardon my language, some fucking moron is going to hear those 3 words that got used in relationship to the election and say I was going off on a political rant.
Yep, you're right.
And you know damn well it was going to happen.
Yep.
And early on the pandemic, I got a scathing email because I made fun of Anita Bryant and Richard Nixon's rally for decency when Jim Morrison whipped his dick out in 1969. Fucking guy went off on me in a text. And it was like, what? It didn't even relate to what I said. Because I pre-recorded it. I went back and listened. I thought, what did I do? Just lunacy. So there, people ruin everything.
You're right.
And they're ruining entertainment too.
They are.
You know?
And everybody's so soft nowadays.
Oh, my God, everyone is.
Nobody has a backbone anymore.
Oh, you can't.
Right. Everything's so PC and cancel culture.
That thing is real, though.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be the asshole clause. If some, like, celebrity or somebody did something that in the court of public opinion, they got judged to be an asshole or not.
Yeah.
And that was your punishment. But now you got to lose your job. You got to go. You got to be gone. Chappelle does a great bit on it in one of those Netflix specials he did like a year ago. He does a great bit on, like, just 25 years ago, Paula Deen said the N-word. And 25 years later, when it came out, Paula Deen now has nothing. And this was Dave Chappelle saying it.
Right.
That isn't me, And then he went on to make a joke about, Paula Deen and being black, which I'm not going to make because I sure as hell ain't going to make that joke. But you know what I mean? And that's the way it is. It's like I did shit 25 years ago, 10 years ago, that was tomfoolery, and I would be considered a complete moron, but that's not me now.
Right.
Yeah. God.
Yeah, everybody's so soft.
You got to watch everything.
You do.
Because they want your head.
Yeah, you do.
They literally, somebody's going to hate me over just saying that.
Probably.
I'm telling you right now, I just fucking hung myself with probably 2 different groups in society.
Which I'm going to switch the conversation up a little bit here.
Yeah, let's not be so serious.
Just the other day, I saw you post a thing with the Ramones played at 4 Acres back in 1977. How awesome is that? But is there like a local database that you get all these facts from, or is it just kind of all up in here? How does this appear?
You can.
I want to know your secrets.
You can thank. Look, you just gave me goosebumps.
Did I?
Does this body make me look fat on camera?
You look great.
No? Good. Thank you. So do you.
Thanks.
Jerry and Tom Starr started putting that together years ago.
Really?
And I got literally a database, and it had so many handwritten notes around it that I had Ben, the intern, retype it nicely. But yes, I have a database of all these, and there's a great one that is available from like Syracuse.com if you Google it. I know you other stations listening, don't do it. It's mine. No, that has everybody that played the Syracuse War Memorial back to the day it opened.
Wow.
Yeah. crazy.
When did that open? Probably in the 50s, 60s?
50s or 60s, around when the Odd did.
Yeah.
You know. But, yeah, Jerry and Tom have all these things. And then I've added to it because some date will come up and somebody will put their, like, ticket stub from a show at the Odd on it, and I'll check it. Oh, that's not in there. Or somebody, Joe Bonamassa, I think it was last year, I saw a picture of him at the Metro, and he goes, wow, as it turns out, on this day in 89, I played my first live show. And it was like, oh, shit. So I went and jotted that down on that sheet.
At the Metro?
At the Metro.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yes, we do. We have a database.
Uh-huh.
And
because you pull out some gems every day, I feel like you pull, and Jerry too. And then what I love about Jerry too is he has all these pictures to match with it. Like he takes pictures with everybody. He goes out and he's like a hoarder kind of in a way, which is cool though.
Yeah. Oh, but he's a wealth of knowledge.
He really is.
I run stuff by him all the time.
Uh-huh.
He's the man. You know, him and Tom and Peter Hirsch initially hired me, but him and Tom, they taught me all I know. They didn't teach me all they know. And that's exactly the way I look at it. And Doc, my funnest week this whole summer, when he had his knee replaced, I went up and painted his house, and our buddy John Nagel helped too.
Oh yeah,
and it was the best week of the summer because it was, guys I've known for a long time and Doc, but it wasn't like a radio station thing and the computer system broke down. Just guys painting a house, hanging around, talking about baseball and music and every other thing under the sun. It was the most relaxing, best week of the summer. And I'm telling you the God's honest truth. It was just wonderful. But, yeah, basically those guys started that database, and we got it.
How far does it date back?
It goes back pretty far.
Yeah?
Early 70s.
Early 70s?
And then, like, weird things. Like, a couple of those Utica groups, and one guy posted one day there were two shows, weird ones, maybe War and maybe Average White Band or something. But they were two cool ones. But they were shows at Utica College in like 1972 or 73 in the gym. And it was like nobody had heard of that. So I wrote those down.
Yeah. And
now we got those in the database. So I always keep my eye out for that stuff.
Hamilton College was well known for having amazing concerts too back in the day.
That Fish picture.
Yeah, and they played.
Graham shared.
Yeah.
Graham Espy shared.
Yeah.
But I had seen that before, and we played Fish that day because it was literally, I think it was November. I want to say it might be November 5th or something. There's a picture of Fish in a room in Hamilton College. They look like they're 20,
right?
If that old.
Yeah.
And it's that you can easily recognize the room if you had gone there. There was like a marlin or something hanging on the wall.
Now it's like an administration office.
Yeah, because you saw that whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the kind of thing I keep my eyes out for.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you hear a funny story about that? I don't know if this is lore or legacy because our buddy can spin a yarn, but Fletcher always told me that Uncle Fester played there at the same time Fish played there.
On the same day?
Same era.
Oh, okay.
So the posters would be up, and Fester was using the PH before Fish was, and then they came back and they had changed it to PH. I don't know if that's true or not.
True.
That's
Fish
not true.
has always been using the PH, and they've been a band since '83.
Have they well?
Yeah, 1983 is when they first started.
They really started that long ago?
And I'm such a Fish nerd that it was December 1st, 1983 was their first gig.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they were always using the PH.
How old were they then?
They were in high school. They were in college. It was like freshman year of college for them.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
How old are they now?
They're almost 60. Yeah, in fact, if they're not 60, they are now, type of thing.
Jesus.
Yeah.
They don't look it.
No. And
those guys look like they're in their 40s, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the longevity of that band, too. And they're a band that can pretty much do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
They can go and fly to Hawaii and have a big party on the beach, and they could do whatever the hell they want.
Yep. Except clean up the water down there in Watkins Glen like 2 summers ago.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
I felt so bad for you guys.
Oh, don't get me started on that. Was horrible.
I just listened to that Trey's first solo album from 2002 the other day. For some reason,
Oh, it's killer.
came in review or
Yeah,
Alive Again came to my head, and I was like, what? Who? I had to say, who is that? And then I thought, oh, yeah. So I looked it up. That was a good record.
Night Speaks to a Woman is such a great song on that album.
Yep.
One of my favorites.
And I saw that tour when they came through Spec.
And that's another legendary show that came through this town was the Trey Band. And it was, and I can tell you this whole story.
That anniversary just happened. We played something out of Joe's attic that day.
I want to say it was like October 25th or 26th, 2002. It was a week. I was supposed to open the electric company that day. And we had to go through hearings and stuff to get my license and stuff.
I remember that story.
That took forever. But in fact, like a couple days after.
Are you going to have food?
Oh, it's
no,
ridiculous.
We're not going to have food. Oh, okay, good. Here.
We got around a lot of different stuff. But what happened, though, we were supposed to open the EC that night. Trey plays the Stanley Theater. The Stanley Theater almost comes down.
Yes.
The balcony almost collapsed. There's plaster falling from the ceiling and whatnot.
Yep.
And I had to move. I had this band, Rack, which was a very popular jam band at the time.
Yeah.
Scheduled to play at the EC, but we had to move it. We ended up opening the following week, which was Halloween. And I had to move that show to the train station. And we ended up having like 500 people for the after party. I mean, it was huge. But that night was so legendary because the ceiling almost came down and the fire marshal was shutting that show down. He shut that show right down because he was worried that the balcony was going to go.
Yeah.
And so Trey actually saved the day, grabbed his acoustic guitar, sat on the stage and told stories and just played Fish songs on his acoustic guitar. And actually ended up being an incredible night and a night that I'll never forget.
Yeah. You know.
Were you at that show?
I wasn't. I was working behind the bar at the Devereaux that night.
Okay.
And I remember people came in early and said, oh, they were going to shut the show down because the balcony almost collapsed. That was the last rock show before they shut it down for all the remodeling and the rebuilding.
You're right.
I think that played a big part in how come the Stanley is as great as it is today was that show.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to talk about the show, Countdown to Utica show that the Trey Band played at the Odd when Fishman and Gordon came out and basically ended the hiatus.
That was right, exactly. They were on hiatus, but the reason why he did that show is he wanted to make up for that Stanley show. So it was the following year after that Stanley show. So that was the Stanley show was 2002, so this was 2003.
Yeah.
And they were in the middle of hiatus, and so they're on hiatus. It's just the Trey Band. And it's weird because Trey, and this is what I love about Trey, and he's so smart. He's just so out there that he started that show at the Odd, how they ended the show at the Stanley.
Really?
And they started at the High Peak Jam, just like, right, that's how they started the show. Like they were finishing
just
up.
Picked up right where they left off.
Where they read a year later.
That's insane.
And so they were on hiatus, and Mike Gordon ends up showing up, playing a bunch of songs with him. And then Fishman was there as well. But Fishman only came out for a second to go ding, and then he ran back off the stage. Man. Hilarious. But yes, that did spark up the reunion and actually what got them back together.
Yep. You know,
right here in Utica.
Right about then when he was playing here. One of the guys that we know was like, I was at Sangertown, and Trey walked into me. And I just said hi to him, and we walked down the court, and then I went, so he likes this area.
He does.
He's got a real, penchant or, fondness for this area.
And talking about Fish that could do anything they want, back in 2010, Fish played the Utica Odd before they did the remodel. It was the hottest, sweatiest place ever.
Yeah.
I remember that date, too. It was 10/20/10.
Yep.
And then a DVD got released out of that show. And then all the Fish heads that were on tour with them for that fall, that was the show of the tour and so on and so forth. That they turned that into a DVD. Yep. And you can actually go listen to it on Spotify right now.
Live in Utica.
Live in Utica.
They used the UC font.
They did.
Yep.
Yeah, they did.
What else? Oh, he brought Oysterhead through town.
Oysterhead was another one, too.
You want to hear a funny story about Oysterhead?
Of course.
That was one of Chuck's shows.
Yeah.
And, I liked him, and I liked Claypool.
That was 2001.
Yes, but Stuart fucking Copeland was going to be there.
Right.
And I ended up thinking we would get tickets, and we didn't get tickets. I don't know why. But I probably do know why. It probably seemed like it was too far out of format for the corporation, so we didn't go for it.
It was.
It was so out of format they didn't even want the money.
It's a very avant-garde album. It was out there.
Yeah. And we played Mr. Oysterhead a few times. Mm-hmm. I remember that. Or whatever the single was.
Mr. Oysterhead.
And so that night we had a bar night at 257 Steakhouse, which is now the other place next to the Stanley. I can't think of the name of it. And it was, that was in my post-divorce years, so I was fucking drinking all the time.
I remember.
So, yeah. So I left, and it was like, all right, I got to bring the OUR van back to the Radisson garage. And I was like, fuck that. I'm driving it right down to the auditorium. I'm putting it right on the front lawn where we park it for the hockey games and everything else, and I'm just walking in. And I knew a couple of cops that would be working. I said, I'm just going to look for him because I know he's the sergeant now. And I didn't even have to do any of that. I pulled it up. I parked it under the thing, just like we always did. I got out. I said hi to some people. I hung out for a few minutes. And then when I walked in, some Utica PD guy that I didn't know personally said, hey, they can start now. Genesee Joe's here, and just opened the door. Not even the door with the line, the other door. And I was like, thanks, buddy. And I walked in, and hey, Che, I walked right in. and I just went and watched Oysterhead.
It's that recognizable face of yours.
All because I was loaded. All because I was.
So you think if you weren't drinking, you wouldn't have the balls
I never would have had the balls to do that.
No.
Nope. And it's just long ago enough where I can't get the statute of limitations is over. Cause,
yeah, Chuck's not going to get mad at you now.
Yeah,
I
he
think
won't
it's
either.
kind of funny.
But yeah, but that's how I got into Oysterhead. I just like, fuck this, I'm going.
That's some Utica shit right there.
Yeah, drove right over the sidewalk, right up to the front of the place and parked. You know, Kenny, Kenny Morrison.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, Kenny and Woody, those guys did a lot of stuff there with Kiss FM and that at the time, and it was always where they let us park. So I just put the van right there and walked right in.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny, if he hears this now, he's going to kill me. He's who I'll be in trouble with.
Yeah, Joe, I've been asking this question a lot, too, and I wanted to bring it up with you. And not sure if we've talked about this before, but we talk about this a lot on Local Music Monday with Justin Smithson and I.
Which, by the way, I love.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And I love having Justin
those
around.
Shows, the ones with Bob Ock, the ones with, those are great. Those are excellent.
Yesterday was fun, and I've been asking this question, too. Yesterday with Roscoe was fun. Local Music Hall of Fame. If we were to do a Local Music Hall of Fame, who would be some of the members in your class?
That's a good question because we have talked about this before, and I've actually chimed in when Bob was on.
Okay.
And we talked about the first class, but if you're talking about from like my era,
well, no, off the top of your head, who would be your guys? Like if you're on the committee, who are you voting for?
First of all, you know what? Joe Finelli's going in first year.
Yeah.
Finelli.
Ghetto Fab?
Yeah, no, not that part of Joe Finelli. Okay. The guy who's been the backbone to so many productions in Utica, tirelessly, effortlessly, cranky.
He's not really that cranky, though.
He's not really that cranky.
He just plays it on
when
TV.
He's in work mode, don't break his balls.
Right.
Because he's a very, it's all done right.
Mm-hmm.
So when I walk up to him and I'm starting to tell him, these goddamn rhinestones on the mic don't match my outfit, he won't always laugh. And it's great to say that to him because he knows it's coming. But anyways, no, Finelli would be in. Honestly, I would have to start a little old school like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame did. Sal Alberico Sr. would be in there. That guy Eric Thorngren from Eric and the Chessmen. Okay.
Well, you're digging deep, too.
Yeah,
because this is going back into the 60s.
Carmen Carmonica would be in there.
First ballot.
Yeah. Then you would have Paul Angerosa.
Yeah.
Hank Brown would go in there, man, because he had Twistorama, one of the first shows to put rock and roll on TV in Utica.
Really?
Hank had a TV show called Twistorama, and would have bands. Guys like Daryl, son of a bitch, Miles' father, Daryl Madison.
Madison, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was him who had like a picture one time when he was like 15. He played with the band on that show.
Really? I didn't know this. You're blowing my mind right now.
Yeah, so I would do a little bit historical. And then the second round, would be more modern era guys. Because there was a foundation of serious players and musicians that started all this artistic. And this is a very deep talent pool around here. And when you get guys coming in from out of town who end up seeing locals or playing with locals, guys like Moose Bowles, they can't believe it. Some of those shows we did with Moose, those guys, first of all, everybody was over 65 except for me and Sam Saponaro Jr. And it was like that band had played together every week for years.
Wow.
It was crazy to hear those guys go. I was just lucky to be a part of it. But there was a foundation that started all that stuff. And I'm probably leaving guys out because, but.
In the second wave.
Second wave would be guys like Bob Ock.
Yeah.
Tony Torres.
Lenny.
Holmes, Mancini. Liebing, Lenny. I think Lenny might be maybe a third-year guy.
Third-year guy.
Yeah, because once again, this is a guy who's been in so many different. Bonamassa would be a second-year guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Stick, the guys from the band Sky Church, because they were the first like acid rock band. Stick and BD and Russ and Paul. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
They were like the first hippie acid rock band. They played Hendrix and all that shit. So yeah, there would be like a lot of really heavy hitters in those first 3 or 4 years.
We could do it.
Guys like the Doc would be in there.
Yeah, for sure. You would have to do like a radio wing, right?
Who am I kidding?
And then a production
Who
wing.
am I kidding? I'd be fucking number one. Motherfuckers.
I thought for sure you would be like me, of course.
Screw you, sisters, and your goddamn legacy and brotherhood. Fuck off.
But no, there's so many to pick from. And then
the
they can start
boys, when would you put them in? Because they also have done so much.
probably second or third wave.
Yeah. Yeah, because guys.
Because you have to put them all in at the same time. Dan, Mark, and Al, all at the same time.
Oh my God! Imagine if you put Mark in the year after just to break his balls. He will punch me square in the face when he sees me Wednesday night.
You would have to put them all in at the same time, though.
No, you would.
Yeah.
But no, and the thing with that in my mind, because I've really thought about this, is, what were the eras and who came before who?
Yeah.
Just like the Hall of Fame, Rock Hall of Fame had Chuck Berry and Little Richard and those guys the first time, and then Pink Floyd came along, and then
Right.
So who begot who?
Yeah. Who paved the way?
And that's how I would do it. Mm-hmm.
Great idea.
I think it should happen at least by a website.
Website, or maybe a wing at the Stanley we were thinking about, or something. I mean, it doesn't have to be a designated building because, who's going to pay for it? Then you'd have to start up a whole nonprofit or whatever. But I would love to sit down with a group of people and form a committee and make this happen because, like you said before, it's like there's so much talent and it needs to be recognized.
If you had a website, and you had like that year's people being up their photos and stuff, or maybe a few memorabilia things in the second floor to Stanley. And then every year there was a show that even could be a benefit for something. Syracuse has a great model for it.
Mm-hmm. They do.
I'll be honest with you, though. I think that it's not like I'm saying anything mean or anything, but I feel like the Syracuse Area Music Awards are Syracuse area.
Yeah.
So, honestly, like, some people around here will have their band, we're getting nominated for a Sammy. It's like, get out of there.
I've been nominated for a Sammy.
So, if Sunderwatt. It's like, just don't do it. Because, first of all, there's plenty of guys out there.
Right.
Second of all, I really don't feel like the Utica bands are wanted.
I could
You never make it past the third round.
I can think of 2 bands from Utica that has won Sammys. One of them, Bob Aka's won a Sammy before.
Yeah.
And then Nine Ball.
Oh, yeah.
Nine Ball won a Sammy. But
Okay.
and that's the only 2 Uticans that I can think of that have actually won a Sammy.
It's kind of like, look, it's theirs. Let them do it.
Well, if you want to look at Jeff Jones, Jeff is originally from Oriskany.
Is it really?
And Dez, those guys are originally from here. So Jack Jones, you could look at it that way.
Yep. There's been a lot of weird, because Dracula Jones was a great band.
Oh, absolutely.
Was he Pale Green Stars too? Wasn't that the same guy?
Yeah, afterwards.
Yeah, but I found an interesting thing that one of the guys from the Turtles lived in Marcy for a long time when he was a kid, or for a while when he was a kid. I never even knew that. Mark Vollmer.
Really?
Yeah. No, Howard Kalin lived in Marcy for a while.
Huh.
Yeah, it's weird.
And there's like a lot of those gems too. Like Buck Dharma has so many close ties to Rome.
Yeah.
His wife's from Rome, from Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah.
And like there's just so many weird ties like that. Look at Benny Mardones used to hang out in Syracuse all the time, and he was an honorary Syracuse guy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he was. He loved Syracuse.
Yeah.
One of the worst bar nights I ever did.
Why is that?
I showed up, and I don't know why it got given to me, but I think that there was like a scheduling conflict for the guy like Jerry who should have done it because him and Benny were good friends.
Oh, yeah?
And, Doc knows how to deal with the road managers and all that shit. And I was we're going back to like probably 1999, 2000. And they were filming a documentary on him called, I think they were going to call it The Man Who Would Be King or some shit like that. Now, granted, looking back, Benny, really, even Tommy Mottola said we should have done something more with him. And that's a huge guy in the music business.
Right.
And they also said we should have kept an eye out for him when he started to get a little fucked up. Mm-hmm. We should have known to pull him out of that lifestyle. And But anyway. But Dick Fole was having a terrible summer at Foles Beach House because it rained every weekend, and we had a bunch of station stuff going on up there, and we kept getting rained out and rained on. So I go up there after this whole summer for like the Labor Day show, and the guy's like, well, you know, we're filming a documentary. We can't have you do the introductions. We got the intro. I was like, listen, I don't want to be in the documentary, but I got hired to come up here because we do a lot of stuff. Please, I got to go up there and just say hi, do some giveaways, and fulfill my obligation. Because remember, my work sent me here, and he has this part of the deal. The guy's like, it took about 5 minutes for him to say I could go up 5 minutes before the regular guy, like, introduced Benny. He was just a real dick about everything. Not like a normal road manager dick, but like this guy was being an extra dick. Uh-huh. And so I went up and I said, hey, Genesee Joe from OUR, how you doing, man? Good to have you here tonight. Going to have another great, Labor Day show with Benny. And he tapped me on the shoulder and said, okay, that's good, thank you. And immediately I wanted to fucking lay him out. No lie. So I just started throwing the T-shirts and the things out. And then I had to walk across the bar to Dick Fole and get my money.
Yeah.
And
did you get paid?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because he saw it happen.
Oh, he did.
So Karen was his girlfriend. Remember both of them?
No.
All right, well, yeah. And they both saw it happen. And she started laughing. She goes, cut you right off, didn't he? And I was like, oh, thank God he saw that. And
yeah.
So he paid me. But still.
That's cool.
I gave it all back to him. Yeah, he should have just gave me a bar tab. And I'm like, okie dokie. Here's the other 20 I'm going to add to it. But, yeah, but it was like the most terrible night. And then he had knocked his tooth out or something and couldn't get to it. It was a holiday weekend. He couldn't get to a dentist. Yeah. So by the end of the night, he was crying and he was punching out the ceiling tiles and telling people he loved Syracuse. So, yeah, it was the whole night was a shit show.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's one we lost in 2020. There's been a few that we lost in 2020.
The guys that knew Benny knew him and had really good relationships with him. I didn't know him that well, so he was always kind of nice to me. But when I was seeing him, we were the younger guys. We were the underlings, and he kind of treated us that way. But it was like, you know what? He knows these other guys. He doesn't know us. So he was always relatively nice to me.
Yeah.
But,
the question I've been asking, too, has there ever been a moment in your career that you fanboyed out on an artist?
Oh, fuck yeah, Neil Young.
Neil Young? When he played Vernon Downs?
No, I didn't get to meet him then. I met him at Great Woods through the record company and ended up, long story, through a photographer of his. But, man, I met the Crazy Horse guys, and it was fine. I met Neil Young's wife, and it was cool. And I met Neil Young, and I immediately turned into Ralph Cramden on TV. I was like, couldn't fucking say a word. I said, like, thank you for everything. And I mean, like, for years, it was like, let me talk to this guy. Let me talk. And I couldn't get one thing out, man. I was like, my girlfriend at the time was like, hi, Neil Young. I'm your Shabba. And it was all fine. And I just totally, like, fanboyed out. Couldn't talk to him. Couldn't say a goddamn word. Couldn't say anything that made sense. I had a stroke. I literally had a stroke. I couldn't say a thing. Like, now I can meet him. I mean, it's fine. But, I don't know. The first time was like, other than that, I've always been pretty good, man.
Yeah. But Neil Young is the one that choked you up.
Neil Young cut me right down. I couldn't say a goddamn thing. And he kept looking at me like, like he was like, is this guy going to say something? Is it, is this a Make-A-Wish thing? What is going on here?
Shake my hand and move along.
Yeah, and even the picture we got with him, I look like this. My girlfriend looks fine, and Neil Young is like, I think it's a Make-A-Wish thing. You know what I mean? He's got like the hair. So, yeah. And I did that, too. I pushed my girlfriend out of the way to stand next to him in the picture, so I was a real asshole.
Man.
I walked out, I heard him go, is he dying of something? What's wrong with him?
The Make-A-Wish kid.
Yeah. No, just a radio thing? Oh, he's an asshole. Okay, never mind.
Though, going back to the whole Music Hall of Fame, though, I'd really, really like to get maybe a committee going or something. And we've talked about doing some things, and I still want to do that podcast that we talked about.
Luke Kaler wanted to write a book, or at least chronicle all this stuff.
Timeline, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys got that database already.
Yeah.
And we can really go focus on that. I mean, we could do that with all the national touring acts that have come through, but I'd really like to focus on the local music scene.
Fun fact from that database. In March of '83, the Ramones played MVCC, and it was Richie's first gig with the band live. He had joined the band, and his first gig, and it's in his book, was at Mohawk Valley Community College.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So
were you there?
No.
No.
Believe it or not, I never went to those shows.
Is there a bucket list band that you have that you haven't seen?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, not really. I mean, I've seen so many of them.
Right.
I think there's more bucket list ones for ones I missed. You know what I mean? Than ones I actually would still want to go see. But I love to see anything I can.
Yeah.
To be completely honest with you. So, but.
Interesting. You have seen a lot.
I have seen a lot. And you know what? But other guys, like friends of mine, have seen so much more. Like, I never realized how many times. Back before the internet, it just seemed like I would not catch, like, who was playing in these clubs in Syracuse, or else I would be like, oh, I don't want to go out there. I don't know anybody out there. So I actually passed on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's more of a regret thing, a regret list than a bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But you got a bucket list?
The only one I could think of off the top of my head is Stevie Wonder.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
But for the most part, same as you. I mean, we've lived a blessed life.
Yeah.
And got to see some really cool things. I've got to work with some of the biggest names in the music industry.
You got to work with the Stones.
The Stones, Paul McCartney,
Yeah.
Fish, the Dead. I mean, I've got to work with a lot of great artists. And like I said, it's been a blessed life.
Paul was my last bucket list guy, and I got to see him in Syracuse.
That was a great show.
Yeah. You know what? Peter Gabriel might be a bucket list. But, once again, there's a guy that's probably not going to do anything
He's
else.
not going to play ever again.
No. Now, here's my question for you, a guy who's in that business. Do you think COVID has wiped out all of those, not the super classics like the Stones and all of those guys that usually would tour every year, but now they aren't going to do anything for over a year? Do you think those guys are done because of this?
I kind of do.
I do too.
Unfortunately, but at the same time, and it's great that they still do their thing, but I think it was time to make way for somebody that's up and coming. But who's up and coming nowadays?
There is none.
There really isn't. There's no more arena rock bands anymore. I mean, other than like the Foo Fighters or maybe like Shinedown or something like that. But there's no more arena rock bands. It's more theater level and club level now.
Yeah. Which maybe is a good thing.
Yeah, it could be a good thing. It's more intimate that way.
Yeah. I honestly would rather stay down at the brewery and watch a band with 4,000 or 5,000 people than go all the way down to Saratoga and watch them.
I agree.
I mean, Live Nation really, it sounds cliche almost say it, but they've killed a lot of fun.
They really have.
They've taken the enjoyment out of the events.
Yep. Yeah.
And on the other hand, you've worked for promoters. Promoters' jobs is to put on a good show, put on a safe show, and take care of the artist. And it's not to give you a life milestone. So people look at it the wrong way. But Live Nation has even taken any of that. They ruined it. You want to hang around backstage in the rain and try and catch the band behind the Stanley back in the day? Yes. Now, you want to meet the band? Well, for an extra $400, you can do that.
Right.
And
I think COVID is going to kill that. There's going to be no more meet and greets.
No.
That's going to be a thing in the past.
Totally goes away.
Right. That's going to be a thing in the past, meet and greets. And now meet and greets are over Zoom.
Yeah. Here's something else that's funny, though. Remember how earlier we were saying people ruin everything?
Uh-huh.
You know how you go to a concert, like a major concert, and beers are $15?
Yeah.
You know why beers are $15? Because fucking people. How terrible was it to go get like your seats in or on the lawn and there's already a guy passed out throwing up? Or how many people got too hammered during the show and started fighting somebody on the lawn in SPAC and you're getting hit for no reason? You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
That's why those are like that. So once again, I can't believe I'm saying anything in their defense because I always bitch about it when I go to shows. Same thing. People, you fucked everything up.
And you see the other side of the coin, it's corporate gouging as well.
Yeah,
so I mean, it does go both ways.
No, it totally goes both ways. If they need to charge $2 more for a beer because of insurance reasons, they're going to charge $6 more.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. So, me, I am not a corporate guy. I can't stand that stuff.
Right, I hear you, brother. We don't conform. It's hard for us to conform.
Yeah.
That's okay though.
You know what? I don't know if I want to even say this.
This always happens.
No, you know why? Because anybody else that's going to work at a corporate radio station, like especially locally, I'm friends with. I like them, but I don't like the people they work for. Mm-hmm. And I always piss and moan about the station in town that uses clickbait. Now, some of the guys come up with interesting stuff, but other ones don't. They just put some lie up there. Like, this is in your home and is going to kill your children tonight. And you click, and it's a clickbait thing. You read through the whole thing while all the ads pop up, and it turns out at the bottom it's not. And a guy that works in another market for one of those corporations said, yeah, but you don't understand. All that digital stuff in the clickbait, that's what's keeping the lights on and the doors open and people from getting laid off. That's where the money's coming from. And I said, that's because the corporations fucked up the first thing, the product, the radio station. They fucked up what's coming out over the speakers, what's going out over the air. They fucked that all up. That's why they got to worry about getting people to click on their website so Procter & Gamble ads can pop up in front of you. If they didn't do that, they'd be making money off radio. And don't try and be a billionaire from radio. It's not supposed to be that way.
And the other thing, too, is like a lot of these...
Being poor like us doesn't work either, but you know what I'm saying? There's a happy medium.
A lot of them didn't roll with the changes either.
They
as
didn't.
Technology started to progress, like it's the social media thing. I know it's one thing I noticed that you're always on your social media and you're talking to your people, even if it's on your personal or on the drive. But a lot of these other stations, they don't do anything with their social media, and you kind of have to nowadays.
Change the morning.
As we're live on social media right now.
Change the goddamn morning show, and it never popped up on their Facebook or on their website except for in the list of DJs.
Right.
And that morning show got changed because that company owns it.
Yeah.
They didn't own the other one that was being leased from a company out of Syracuse that shall remain nameless.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And then, so they went, I don't know the contract then, they put on this chicken wings one. And no, I would have been all over that. I would have been choking the listener with this chicken wings are coming in Monday morning. What the fuck is going on?
Why wouldn't you go local in that situation either?
Well, that could be hard too, because who the fuck is good enough?
Well,
who's funny? You know what I mean?
They're out there.
Yeah, I know.
It just to me, I feel like it's laziness.
But that's the thing. That's probably what the people who work there wanted. But the corporation, like, fuck no. We own that show. Shut up. Sell it. And that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
We got Bob and Tom in the morning. Because right now that's what we can afford, and it was the opposite of what everybody else is doing.
Bob and Tom are a staple in this community, have been for 20-plus years now.
And you know what? For people that don't like them from years ago, Bob's been gone for 3 or 4 years.
Has he?
Yeah. I think he owns the name.
So it's just Tom and Tom?
No, it's Tom, it's Chick, but they added Josh Arnold, Jess Hooker, Christy Lee is still there. And the dichotomy of that show has changed now with these younger guys, where it is actually a funny show again. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Bob's obnoxious laugh is gone. And there are people that love it or hate it. And it's unfortunately, that's the way morning shows really are.
Yep.
But I could...
You digress?
I digress. You know what I mean? No, but I'm just saying is that...
Did you say that at the beginning?
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to digress this whole show, but...
No, I'm just saying, but that's what corporate radio is doing. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that wrecked it. Because some guy, we have a conservative thing around here. I shouldn't be saying this because this is an entertainment show, but I'm being kind of bitchy.
That's okay. Joe, I feel like every time you come on here, you're a little bitchy.
I am.
Yeah.
But,
I have 2 8-year-old men over here.
And here I called Finelli grumpy.
I know.
No, but, it's like we got a conservative kind of population around here, and they don't want to send money downstate. But anybody who advertises over on that station is sending money to Westchester County, and the people that work here aren't getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Some dude is getting rich so he can have his, golf course on the back lawn. What the fuck, man? You've got a locally owned, operated station who's got as bigger of an audience. We run them over.
Yeah.
That station got sold after what I did, That was the crown jewel in that other guy's cluster, and he sold it. So fuck them. If you're going to spend money, spend it at the drive. We'll give you bigger, better audience, and you're going to get a hell of a lot more attention from us.
And it took away the whole heritage feeling of that station, too. It did, because that was a legendary station.
We got little pizzerias that are doing great. We got car dealerships, little mechanics that are doing great because we treat them the way they should be treated. You're not just a number. You're a client.
Right.
We here, you're here. That's the way it is.
There's a relationship.
Yeah. I tell you, COVID made me grumpy.
I hear you. I hear you.
Next time I come out, we'll really get drunk.
And before we get out of here, though, I do want to ask, is there anything you'd like to see stick around after COVID's done?
You know what? I don't know. That's a very good question. That's a hard question. It's like an existential question. Just people looking out for each other. You know, the people that are putting on the masks and are cleaning their hands and they are keeping an eye out for each other. That's what should stick around. The fact that I can wear sweatpants to work because there's not going to be really anybody there, that should stick around. I had to put jeans on for the first time since last spring, to come here today.
It's okay.
But, no, I don't know. I mean, I wonder if there has obviously been good things that have come about this.
Kind of.
Yeah. But
somewhat.
Yeah. I don't know. But anyways, I'm glad you let me on because I wanted to talk up and tell everybody that pays attention to this show, and there's a lot of them, El Zorro is here.
El Zorro.
It was needed, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's so cool that you guys are, thinking outside the box, doing something different, doing something that has never been in this market ever before.
Dare to be different across the board.
Absolutely, man. And you guys can check it out on the FM dial at 98.3 FM or on the AM dial, 1420 AM.
And, of course, streaming Facebook, El Zorro.
They got a Facebook page. And
and we're streaming there. We're on TuneIn Radio.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like we did, like, the McNeil-Lehrer report. Like, this was a very serious thing. Is anybody on Facebook? Is anybody laughing at any of this?
Yeah, I mean, we have a bunch of people over here. And a lot of people are talking about, like, as we're going along. Dave Borges saying, hot dog toaster for sale. Buy one, get one for free.
Hey, yes.
Frank.
Hey, Frank, come on in.
Frank Donato, ladies and gentlemen. Frank Donato. I love him. Yeah, they're just kind of going back and forth. But thank you to everybody out there in Facebook land that has watched this and all our other social media platforms, too. We're not just live on Facebook. We're also live on YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, Twitter. So thank you so much to everybody out there. If you are in Facebook land, please click the share button. Help spread the word of El Zorro and the drive and everything we're going on. I like when we co-op, man. This is great.
You got to come back on my show.
That was so much fun when we did both shows together at the same time.
Let's do it again, man.
We need to.
That's the other thing, too. Do you find yourself like just a little fed up with everything? Because I know I do, and I think it comes out of my personality every day these days, and I don't like to be that way. But do you find yourself just after the whole last couple of years just like had enough?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I really do, man. It's really, I hope that goes away.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to have to argue with people about stuff, or have people start yelling at me basically in an online forum because they didn't get something. That I posted, like, potatoes are my favorite, and then they start to go off on the president. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
Why are you doing this here?
The snippiness of people.
Yeah, I'm fed up with it.
Yeah.
It's just, I just want everybody to just either ignore each other like they did before or get along.
Right.
You like these people? Pay attention and be nice. You don't like them? Fuck them. Ignore them.
Stop spreading fear, too. I think that's what's happening to a lot. It's all fear-mongering.
It is.
And people are spreading fear, and they're so quick to jump on the clickbait or so quick to...
Fear-mongering scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, seriously, though. I mean, we need to be spreading more love instead of spreading the fear.
If a place closes down, or like people get laid off, that really set me off one day. You can't use that as your click. Which local place is going to let 700 employees go? Click here to find out. And then it's so you and some guy, somewhere else can make money.
Right.
That really pissed me off because you're talking about
people are not making any money.
500 people here that we know. How can you use them as cannon fodder like that? It's terrible.
Yeah.
Wow, I think I need counseling. We're gonna have to get like a psychologist on the drive so we could trade some time on his couch. I need to talk.
You gotta let it out, brother.
I quit smoking too, so there you go.
There you go.
I can't hang in Newport and be like, well, I have to get along with it. No, I quit smoking. Son of a bitch.
That's good though.
Yeah,
that's good. Clear that lung.
Oh God, clean living sucks.
We have become that old man get off my lawn kid.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Oh.
I know it sucks, and the COVID thing doesn't help whatsoever.
There's food in my fridge, not beer cans. I don't understand what the world's coming to.
I don't
It's
either.
terrible, isn't it?
But we do need to get together and
Yes.
and do another co-oping of both shows, because that was a lot of fun that day. And then also, I'd really like to talk about forming this committee and putting together this local music hall of fame. Whether we have a wing at the Stanley, or maybe we could do like sidewalk stars or something like that, or who knows? I know
Bricks.
and I'd like to get a few people involved. Bob Ock, Tim Moyer. I'd like to get a bunch of these guys involved. Somebody who's they're really predominant figure in the local music scene,
Yeah.
and sit down and have a meeting. Jerry should be a part of this meeting, and maybe Tom Starr, and like we really should sit down and talk about this.
Yeah, I definitely think so, man, and I hope we can do it.
Yeah.
And you know, just so you know, if the worst case scenario happens or there's any kind of lockdown and stuff again, if you do want to keep the entertainment value up and come over and do that, it's really one person at a time over there when that shit happens.
Yeah.
So, and it's wiped down, everything's clean, so it will be a safe place to come if you want to do it.
Yeah.
And you know, that studio's big enough we can not hug each other and be 6 feet away.
But I like hugging you.
I know.
You're so warm and cuddly.
You hug great.
So do you.
Always got to go down the road, bro.
We'll save it for our picture. But Joe, thanks so much. You can check out Joe. You can like his Facebook page over at The Drive. And, of course, El Zorro, the new Spanish radio station, hitting this market, man, it hit November 1st. So go check it out. Support local people. That's what we're preaching here every day on EC Radio. Support local, support your local music, support your local art, support your local businesses, restaurants, all that stuff, coffee houses. So support. Never mind this corporate bullshit.
All right, man.
Much love to you. Much love to EJA Moving Services, too. The professional movers, when you're ready to move and relocate, hit them up at 315-335-0516. Also, shout out to Dave Longaretta, my attorney. If you need legal advice, 735-6162. You can dial him up. Utica Coffee, Saranac Brewery. And also, Joe, you were my taste tester today. I got this new endeavor going on right here. Let me put it on a little screen here. I have this new endeavor going on. I suffer from arthritis every day. And this lotion, this topical lotion from Serenity Wellness, my good friends out in Vermont, gave me a whole bunch of balm. And this is all natural stuff. There's like infused coconut oil and almond and spearmint and wintergreen and peppermint and frankincense and just pure love that is in these things. And let me tell you, this is the magic potion. So if you suffer from arthritis or any kind of ailment, hit me up, because I got a bunch of this stuff and I'm selling them right now. If you have any kind of ailment whatsoever, this stuff really works. It helps for fibromyalgia, chronic pain, any kind of aches and pains, and also, like I said, arthritis. So it's magic. How did it work for your neck?
I did like it, because I've always got like tightness over here. So it was cool.
I was going to rub you down a little bit, actually.
It would have been great. Now, you said Dave Longretta is your lawyer?
Oh, yeah.
After the shit I said today, I'll probably need that number. So, Dave?
It's 735-6162. So if you need that number. And tell him Uncle Z sent you to get you a little discount.
I will, brother.
All right, man.
All right,
Great to
thank
see you,
my
Joe.
man.
Much love, and much love to you guys out there. I'm not on tomorrow, but I will be back on Thursday with musician extraordinaire Nick Piccinini from the Yonder Mountain String Band. Looking forward to that. You guys have yourself a good day. See you later.